Hey everyone, this is Krisha here, and what I'm about to share with you is actually pretty vulnerable and yet incredibly, incredibly powerful. So, um, just a very brief history for those of you who don't know me or aren't familiar with my story. I am a coach and a mentor. I'm a speaker. I have been running a coaching business since 2015. And I have been working with people for all this time on helping them really move out of their own way so that they can step into the lives that they were meant to live, right? And there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes with that. I do a lot of work around self-sabotage and around shadow work and around self-love, rituals and habits and all sorts of stuff, mindset, the whole gamut of things, nourishment and all of it. And it's been my honor to have done this work professionally for the last, several years, and to continue to do so. And in addition to that, what I'm recognizing and realizing and accepting about myself is that I'm actually here. This is part of my purpose. So recently, I really got the full understanding of what my purpose is here in this lifetime. And part of that purpose is for me to continuously evolve and grow in a spiritual way myself. So this work that I do on myself is helping me to be able to continuously ascend into the soul I was put here to be. Over the last several years, I have done an incredible amount of work on myself in terms of personal development and soul work, and learning all about feminine and masculine and goddess and all sorts of different modalities in spirituality, in business, in personal development, in habit formation, in happiness, in consciousness, in every realm possible. In human design, I have studied so much because I absolutely love it. And I have applied every single thing that I've studied. Oh, and nutrition too, at the very beginning. I have applied every single thing that I have studied on myself. I have been the guinea pig and have done, extreme market research on my own so that I could really, strip away the layers of what is conditioning and what is my actual true self. And, this is sometimes like a Buddha's journey or whatnot. We hear of people who, kind of go off and they go and find themselves and, they emerge a new person. And that's pretty much what's happened, except I haven't gone anywhere. I've done all of this inner work while, raising two young boys, running a business, paying bills, paying mortgage, rent and things like that. And I share that with you because, this level of self-enlightenment, and I'm not even close to being fully self-enlightened, but this level of growth, this level of inner strength and inner knowing and soul work and being able to, dig deep into your spirituality and dig deep into your purpose and really shed all of the conditioning and shed all of the negative beliefs and all of the limiting beliefs and all of the stuff that holds you back is entirely possible to do without having to go off to, sit on top of a mountain for a year. I'm not knocking that. I mean, if I could have done that I probably would have gotten results a lot quicker. I know I have a lot of very beautiful, amazing friends who, went off to Bali for a year or something like that and had a lot of very deep healing and, needed to learn how to integrate that healing when they came back to wherever it was that they were living. I, on the other hand, was doing all of that same deep inner work while integrating in my daily life. So I would have a big aha, a big revelation, a big shedding of a story or of a past pattern or something like that, and then have to go and make dinner for my kids, or get on a client call, or write copy or something, or prepare a speech for speaking on stage. So I become a master at knowing how to transcend and evolve and grow and shed patterns and all of that kind of stuff while, you know, doing life. And a lot of the clients that I serve are also very busy professional people who are on the seeking journey as well, who really are looking to evolve, and reach that place of inner peace and inner knowing, and make the real changes in their lives that they know that they want to make, because they know that the life that they're living right now isn't the life that they're meant for. There's more. And they're blocking themselves, they're stopping themselves, and they know that they're stopping themselves. And so when we work together, you know, because of my experience of being able to deal with this like real time with real problems, you know, it gives them the tools to be able to integrate these changes, without, you know, while still running a business and doing what they need to do in order to put food on the table and support their families. So I wanted to share that because I think this is really important. There's a lot of spiritual based programs out there that don't take that into account. They don't take into account that we have lives and kids, and you know, we're busy and we have other things to do and can't just devote our 24/7 to becoming some sort of spiritual guru. However, you know, with the rituals and the you know, the process that I take people through, the ascension process that I take people through, they are able to get from that place of feeling really chaotic or overwhelmed or not aligned, not centered, out of integrity. You know, that longing, that knowing that there's something more for them, that ache in their heart, that dissonance that they're feeling, knowing that they're self-sabotaging, knowing that they're getting in their own way, knowing that they're not reaching their full capacity because they've got this shadow material and they've got these behaviors that are stopping them, and taking them through the arc that I take them through, into all the different modalities that I take people through, to be able to emerge a much more powerful, centered, aligned, joyful, happy person who is incredibly aware of how they sabotage themselves and how they you know, basically knock themselves out and by the thinking mind. So a lot of the work that I do with people is helping calm that mind down, helping you love yourself and be able to step into this purpose and this genius. And so, you know, what I wanted to share with you today is a massive shift that just happened for me this week, today. And it's around my mother. And this is so fascinating for me as an observer now of my life, and sort of, you know, looking at things from that observer stance, my higher self stance, and not getting so caught up in the stories and so caught up in the not realness of what's been created from fear, from patterns, from my shadow material. And so my upbringing, my mother and I had a very, you know, interesting relationship. You know, she had made some decisions in her life about how she was going to live and parent, and those decisions really had an impact on me in a negative way. And when I was a little girl, there was a point where I got to where I was like, this is not cool. Like, I don't I'm not in agreement with how you're living your life and how you're parenting me and what it is that you're doing. And I became this like source of like, probably real annoyance for her, because I was constantly confronting her, being like, what are you doing? Why are you living your life like this? You're better than this, and all this kind of stuff. And what I didn't realize then was that was actually the birthing of my purpose. Because that is really, you know, my biggest desire for people is for people to, you know, like not settle in life, right? And I see the capacity that people have, that humans have, and it pains me when I see somebody with potential and with capacity not living up to that capacity. And so, because of my very interesting dynamic with my mother, she kind of became my first client. And as a result of that, what ended up happening is that every person, every relationship, like sexual and romantic and marital relationship that I had, my relationship with my friends, my relationship even with my clients at the beginning of my coaching business, were all based on the pattern of me saving my mother and what I wasn't getting from my mother. So I have this purpose, and if I was plunked in a different kind of family, my purpose would have shown up in a different kind of way, right? So here we have this purpose of, you know, doing my own deep work, constantly on myself. That is my purpose. Whether I get paid for it or not, whether I'm recognized for it or not, whether I ever have a client ever again in the rest of my life, whether I ever speak on another stage again, it doesn't matter, because I'm in my purpose. And my purpose is to continuously examine and shed and get closer and closer to the essence of who I am. It just so happens that I also have the ability to be able to coach and speak and mentor and all that, and the desire to do that as well. Like, that's my medium. My paintbrush is coaching, or is mentoring, is talking. My paintbrush could have been my voice in terms of singing. My paintbrush could have been poetry. My paintbrush could have been something else entirely. Maybe I could have been an architect or a doctor or something. I know I would have been in healing arts in some sort of way, shape, or form. And that would have been my artistry, but my purpose would have still been the same. And it just so happens that my purpose and my artistry align into me doing my own inner work, so that I can help you do your inner work. And for the first half of my life, I'm 44 now. And so for the first like 44, I guess, years of my life, my mother was my first client. And then every single person from that point forward was somebody that I was trying to either fix. I see that they were broken. I attracted a lot of very, very broken people over my life, very broken people. And I never understood it. You know, I was always like, why do I have all these friends who are so broken? You know, like really, you know, people who needed a lot of healing, who had been exposed to some pretty nasty things as children, and looked to me to help them heal that. And I'm just there going, I just want to be your friend, and ended up sort of being their coach and being their mentor in a way, and saving them almost in a way. And so from that, it became like this sort of like victim savior relationship that I had with people. And you know, looking back, it wasn't healthy, but it was necessary in terms of my growth and my expansion, and learning what I needed to learn, so that I could continue to have that reflected back at me and heal what I needed to heal. So there was that element of it, the saving element of it, the rescuing element of it. And the other element of it was also the intimacy level of it. So, you know, one of my biggest cravings in life is intimacy. And, you know, from sexual intimacy all the way through to just communication. Let's just communicate. Let's just talk. Truth is my highest value. Truth is why I'm here. Truth is what I see. And truth is what helps me help people. I see your truth. And so I help you see your truth so that you can live your truth. That's the whole kind of like point of it. And I wasn't able to have intimacy with my mother. I didn't have an intimate relationship with my mother. She was an absentee person because she was always drunk or whatever. She was just not present. And I craved that intimacy so much from her. And so what I ended up doing over my lifetime is create relationships and create scenarios that kept intimacy at bay. So it was always something that was a longing. It was always something that was a lack for me. Was I really want to be intimate. I really, really, really want intimacy. But at the same token, it scared me because I didn't know how to have intimacy because I never experienced it. So my soul knew intimacy, but my physical self didn't understand intimacy. So my brain and my body didn't understand intimacy in that way. And so I remember, like, you know, people trying to get close to me, people actually breaking through and seeing my soul and seeing my higher self, and probably my higher self seeing them too, and us connecting and receiving some sort of intimacy. And as soon as I received that, I would shut it down. It's like, this is unfamiliar to me. Even though I really, really want it, it's unfamiliar. I'm going to shut it down. You're not messed up. You're not completely rejecting me emotionally. You're not like totally messed up. So that means that you're not part of my paradigm. I don't understand you, even though I am longing for you. And that is all I want. And this could be friendships or partners, lovers, or whatnot. You know, any relationship whatsoever was like that for me. And so there was this like dual, this or that. And last year, I made the decision to really go for an and life, right? I was teaching my clients how to do it. I was giving them all the tools to do it. And I wasn't turning that powerful lens on myself. And so I felt really, really, really out of integrity for a very long time, because here I am like shouting, you know, like, go live your life, live your best life. And people were coming to me to help them live their best life and all the rest of it. And I was like, I'm watching them go off and live their best life. And I was behind the scenes going, I am not living my best life. Like, I'm still in this weird dynamic where I am longing for intimacy, and I don't want to fix people, you know? I want to teach and I want to guide. I don't want to have to feel like I have to fix people. And yet I was in that pattern continuously, which was my shadow. And of course, my self-sabotages would come up and stop me at every turn for me to be able to fully extend into my purpose and my higher self and my soul and all the rest of it. So when I had had enough, I was like, I'm done. I'm going for this. I want an and life. I want to shed all of this. I do not want to go forth for the rest of my life without experiencing real intimacy, without experiencing what it feels like to be in integrity in all ways, without experiencing what it feels like to love myself, like really, truly, deeply love myself. It was way more than confidence at this point, you know, like at first I just wanted to like myself and have a little bit of confidence. And then when I experienced confidence and when I experienced more of that, it was like, I really want to believe in myself, and I really want to love myself, and I really want to feel worthy. I really, truly want to feel worthy in here, in my heart, and not some fake it bullshit. I wanted to feel it, know it, sense it, embody it, and live it. I wanted to stop the negative screaming in my head that was telling me that there was something wrong with me that I can't have. Those were my two core wounds. There's something wrong with me and I can't have, right? And I played out those patterns over and over and over again and became a victim over and over and over again. I was either the victim, I was the perpetrator, or I was the savior. And that was my pattern. And I thought, I don't want those things anymore. And so I really started a very deep journey into this work. I'd already had all the tools, and I had a good guidance system because I had already been doing a lot of this work and a lot of trusting my own intuition and learning what my intuition, what was the difference between fear and intuition. And these are the kinds of things I teach my clients, right? And getting to know what my truth was, feeling and sensing, this feels true, this doesn't feel true, and taking action on what felt true and leaving what didn't feel true, overcoming FOMO and witnessing ego death after ego death after ego death, which basically means witnessing the things that I thought I wanted or who I thought I was, especially as a professional woman. I thought I was this one particular kind of woman. And when I realized that it was like all a construct based on my fears and based on my patterns of how I grew up and based on this victim perpetrator loop and all the rest of it, I was like, oh my God, okay. And it was painful to let go of those pieces because it was like, I don't know how not to be those things. I don't know how not to be that. And there was a lot of like surrendering. And again, this is what I teach people how to do. There was a lot of surrendering in it where it was like, I needed to let go of the old trapeze hang in like midair for a while I was waiting for the new trapeze, which was my new self, my real self, to reveal itself so I could see and anchor it and hold on and be like, okay, now I'm swinging over here, you know? So pretty much all of 2019 was that deep work. And it followed me into 2020. And we're now, when I'm recording this video, is April, near the end of April, 22nd, I think, 2020. And in the few weeks, like in February was a very pivotal month for me. I invested in a new mentor, and this mentor really helped me to see some of the more uglier ways that I was showing up. And the last little bits, like I had cleared so much, but there was still this pattern running that I couldn't see. It was in my blind spot. And so she brought it to the front, and I was like, whoa, don't like that. And it was all within this victim perpetrator savior loop. And I realized that, holy crap, I was still creating relationships. I was still creating scenarios based on that storyline. And so I went through a deep period of isolation, in February, early March, and shut myself off from all, exited every relationship that I was in, and just spent a lot of time on my own and really mourning the loss of that identity, mourning the loss of being the victim, mourning the loss of being the perpetrator, mourning the loss of being the savior, recognizing how those parts of my personality were really sabotaging me. And there were a lot of days on the floor bawling my eyes out, a lot of pain, and followed by such immense joy, like such immense, clean and clear joy that I had never experienced before. I started to feel that near the end of last year, like near the end of 2019, I started to feel this joy. I started to feel this love and this expansion and this gratitude that I had never felt before in my life. And it felt very familiar because that is my soul. And I started to see the difference between, sense the difference between when I was in my purpose, when I was in my soul, versus when I was in my pattern and my shadow and my sabotages and all that. But there was still that one that hadn't been revealed until I just mentioned. So you know, I'm grateful for all of that work because it really allowed me to open up to where I am right now. And something pretty phenomenal happened today. So this actually started last Friday, and I just like, I'm so deeply intuitive now. I was going to say it's insane, but it's not. It's beautiful, actually. And I had the hit to contact a medium. And my mom, she passed away. My best friend passed away. My mom passed away about 5 years ago. My best friend passed away only in February. And it was her, I believe, that came to me and said, get a medium. So I did. And I spoke with this woman, and we had this session, and everything was like so disjointed. Nothing was making sense. And I'm like, what? And then at the very, very end, my mom showed up. And she was like, I want to talk to you, and we have some stuff to hash out. And, you know, there's only these small little missing pieces for you to fully integrate where you are right now. I know that there's going to be more coming. However, right now I am really in a fantastic place, and there are just a couple pieces that were sort of like holding me back still, that I was like struggling to navigate through. So today in a session with this particular medium, I got an opportunity to have a conversation with my mother, and it was really, really, really profound. I was able to, you know, talk to her and ask her about why she made the decisions that she made. And, you know, it was really interesting because, you know, at first she was showing up saying, you know, I'm sorry, I know I did this and I know I did that. And I'm like, you know, it's fine. Like, I don't need an apology. There was just something about, I needed to know why she was the way she was. Like, why did she make those decisions? There was just, it's part of my investigator nature to know why, the why behind things. And it really helps me to understand me more if I understand the why behind things. So oftentimes I used to, you know, be criticized for asking why. You know, it's as if I was challenging authority, and it's like, no, I need to know so that I can understand. And so that's where I was coming from with this with her was, okay, but why? Like, why did that happen? Why were you behaving in such a way, so that I can understand you more? Because I could not have any compassion for her, which meant I couldn't have any compassion for myself. And when I was watching myself behave like my mother, because I took on her identity and behaved like her in a lot of scenarios. My mother was the poster child of victim and quite the perpetrator. I don't remember her being much of a savior, but maybe she was. I don't know. And I took that identity on. And that's why it always felt weird to me. It was always like, why am I behaving in this way? This isn't me. It doesn't make any sense. I always felt like I was adopted or something. Like I never felt like I really truly belonged in that. And you know, it was her identity that I took on. And which is, I have open identity in human design. And without going into too much detail, it is, you know, in human design, we have, you know, centers throughout our body graph, our chart, which they're almost like chakras. And if something is open, it is very, very, very subject to conditioning. And my identity, which is it appears here in the graph, is open, and it means that I can easily take on the identity of others, and without having that awareness and without having that knowledge, I would just absorb their identity and not even realize that that's what I was doing. And so it's actually a really fascinating center to have open. And so I took on my mother's identity. I took on the identity of being the victim. I took on the identity of being this, like perpetrator. And I had a lot of issues around like sex and intimacy. I had a lot of issues around using that as a weapon to get what I wanted. And when she came forward today and we were able to have that conversation, and she was so like amazing in sharing with me why she did those things, it enabled me to heal those parts of me that felt shame for being like her. And all of the decisions that I made and the people that I hurt and all that kind of stuff based on my shadow material, based on taking on her identity, based on being the victim, based on being the perpetrator, all of that kind of stuff that I had some shame around, I was able to finally forgive those pieces of myself, because I recognized that it wasn't me, true me, acting. It was a shadow. It was a pattern. It was a false identity that I had taken on. This doesn't mean I don't take personal responsibility for what I did. 100% I take personal, because it's still me who did those things. But what I'm saying is I don't need to carry that burden with me into the future of my life, because I can now see the separation. I can now understand where that came from me, because I now understand where it came from my mother. And having that compassion and that love for her, and what came up for me in that session was, I immediately, when she was saying I'm sorry and this, that, and the other, I immediately felt myself wanting to go, it's okay, Mom, don't worry about it. And I thought, no, I'm not here to make you feel better. Nope, I'm not here to make you feel better. I'm not here to make anybody feel better. And I realized that I had been doing something very similar in my life. And, trying to make people feel better, trying to make it so people don't feel uncomfortable. Well, so what? People need to feel uncomfortable in order to change. Do you know how uncomfortable I have been in all of this change? And if I hadn't gone uncomfortable, there's no way I would have had this healing. No way. I need to speak truth about that. And so when she showed up like that, I was like, no, Mom, I'm not going to give you the pity. I'm not going to give you the sympathy. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to hear what is your truth, like what really happened. And you have to go and heal. You've got to go and heal. I can't heal for you. I can't heal you for you. And, that was kind of the conversation, and it was really awesome. And I'm very grateful for it. And, it allowed me to be able to really let go of the identity that I've been hanging on to, and the shame that I had been hanging on to, and also the blame. So now what I'm sitting in is the personal responsibility of looking at my life and the things that are maybe not working the way I want them to, and realizing like, oh, if I can't, if I've chosen to release being the identity of my mother and being that, and I have to release that as a crutch. I can no longer say, oh, I do this because of my mother, or I behave that way because, that's how my mother taught me how to behave. I can't do that anymore. I cannot use her as an excuse as to why things might not be going the way I want them to. This is the ultimate in personal responsibility. This is the ultimate in seeing my own truths and accepting them. And now I just need to sit and meditate and really think like, okay, if I'm not my mother anymore and I can't blame her for what's going on, I need to take full responsibility. So what's my part in this, and how do I heal this and resolve it and solve it and move forward in a way that invites in more joy and expansion and happiness. I felt so light and happy after that session. Like, holy smokes. 1,000 pounds had been lifted off of me because I was able to have that conversation with her and heal that part of myself. I'm so grateful for this because it's really opened up a new gateway for me to be able to grow and potentially support more people too. I don't know. I'm in full surrender of everything right now. So I have no idea what's coming down the pipeline. And I think that's a good strategy for right now because, collectively as a whole, we really don't know what's coming down the pipeline. And I think we've all kind of sort of learned the lesson that, when we plan certain things, the unexpected can happen and does happen. And, if you cannot get yourself to a place of surrender, you're going to just be in resistance and it's going to make things so much harder for you. Right. And I know this to be true for my own self. Like anytime that I've had a hard time with things, it's because I've been in resistance of accepting things as they are. And, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this path. I'm grateful for my mother and what she taught me. I'm grateful for, my own soul choosing this experience in this lifetime. And I'm very curious to know what's coming down the pipeline for me and what kind of new adventures and stuff I can expect to, ride the wave of as we all move forward, in the coming months and in the coming years. So I felt very called to share this with you because I know that there's so many of you who feel stuck and so many of you who have that negative voice in your head that's telling you you're a jerk and you can't have, and who do you think you are and all the rest of it, like that not enoughness. I know that feeling so deeply, very, very, very painful feeling to know that you're enough, but not feel that you're enough and have that incongruence in yourself and feeling and knowing that you're capable of so much more. There's so much more available for you, so much more love and all the rest of it, but you don't feel worthy of it. You don't feel worthy. Why can't I have that? It comes and then it goes or whatever, like that. There's a worthiness issue in there. And I wanted to share this to demonstrate, to be a living demonstration, that, it's possible. It is entirely possible to go from having such dysfunction in your life to having peace and love and function in your life. And I love being a walking embodiment of that. And I love sharing it. I just want to share this with you. And like, that's my deepest desire is to share it with people who actually want to hear it. And I'm still figuring that out in terms of business. It's a frustration of mine that does come up, that I don't know if who I'm talking to when I'm producing these things, if anybody's actually listening and taking on the material like I think they are, but I have no real way of knowing. And that's my next, working on that and working on ways that I can really serve. From a higher space and a true authentic space. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you hearing my story. I would love to hear your story. Do you have something similar? Have you experienced something similar? Where are you? Do you have some sort of dynamic with a parent of yours? That you're feeling stuck in? Are you like feeling that sense of knowing that there's so much more for you and you're just not getting it? I would love to invite you into a conversation with me. I work best with people who are really ready to invest and to do the work. I will get on a call with you if you are somebody who is really you know, at a point where you truly want to do this work and you truly want to make some changes to your life, and you're in a position to be able to invest, I have programs that range from, you know, like low $297 all the way up to my one-on-one program. So I have programs for every budget. So send me an email, or if you're finding me on social media, send me a PM or a DM, slip into my DM, and let me know what you would like to talk to me about, and share with me. And you know, we'll have a conversation and see how I can help support you in your evolution and your growth. You know, because I really feel that everybody has this capacity within them. It's a very deep belief of mine that people should not die with their music in them, and that, you know, like my mom, what she revealed today was that it was her choice to live out a soul contract, or whatever you want to call it, that was based on punishment. You know, she decided to live a life in selfishness, and she decided to live a life in punishment, self-punishment. And that's what I was doing too. And I realized, no, that's not what I'm here for. That was hers. That's her identity. That's hers. It's hers. And so today I gave that back to her. And I claim that I can take these pieces and these elements of myself that are similar to her, and, you know, turn them into something that is gold. I'm an alchemist. I can turn that lead, that toxicity into gold, and choose to make the rest of my life golden. And I can help you with that too. So whatever, you know, toxicity or lead or whatever it is that's in your soul and in your body and in your habits and in your sabotages and all the rest of it in your life, I can help you turn that into gold for you. We can alchemize your life, and that's my gift in this world, and what I love doing more than absolutely anything. Sort of, there is one other thing that I love doing, but anyway, that's for another video conversation. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it, and apologies for the length of this. So if you are interested in reaching out and having a conversation with me about how I can help you, then send me an email, krisha@krishayoung.com. You can slip me a DM if you're watching this through social or something like that, and share a little bit about your story with me, and we'll see about maybe getting on a call, and you know, seeing if we're a right fit to work together. And at least I can give you some tools and strategies, or point you in the right direction of where to go next in your particular journey. It would be my honor to be able to do that. So thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.